luncheon in the afternoon.
28-year-old American-born Syed Rizwan Farouk attended a holiday luncheon for the San Bernardino County Public Health Department, where he was employed as a health inspector. He reportedly left the gathering angry and returned later with his wife, 29-year-old Tasfeen Malik.
It seems hard to believe that all of this was spontaneous, and how could he get all of this?
We said yesterday that there appears to be a degree of planning that went into this.
At 11 a.m., the couple entered the conference room wearing tactical vests and armed with rifles.
Unit 6 now has shots fired.
We believe the suspects, when they entered, fired somewhere between 65 and 75 rounds. They sprayed the room with bullets.
Within 4 minutes, a massive law enforcement response.
I realized as I was getting closer that I was one of the very first units there. And when we entered, there was fresh gunpowder and the smell of gunpowder in the air, leading me to believe that there were in fact shooters still.
Madden and 3 others headed east towards the conference room, where police say 70 to 80 people were present.
It was immediately evident that the reports that we were getting were 100% true. There were victims who were clearly, obviously, deceased outside of the conference room.
Later, authorities discovered an explosive device, apparently intended to be triggered through a remote control.
I need you to advise all of the units to move with caution.
There's actually 3 pipe bombs combined into one that had a remote control car type remote control device that appears to not have worked in this case.
This dramatic video shared with local radio station KPCC shows police trying to keep people calm. Tonight, an outpouring of support for the officer who said this.
Try to relax, everyone, try to relax. I'll take a bullet before you do, that's for damn sure.
Those evacuated searched one by one, but the suspects had fled in a black SUV. About 4 hours later, a tip leading police to this house 5 miles from the center, but the pair takes off again in that black rented SUV, leading police on a chase back towards the scene of the earlier rampage.
We're shooting at us from the SUV. He's not Richardson. We're finding it. Watch your crossfire.
Tasfeen Malik, that female suspect, firing out the back at police.
And then the male suspect, who was the driver, got out and fired at officers from the street as well.
All in all, firing 76 rounds. 2 officers injured, none critically.
One of the officers came past, and he told us, run inside the house, get inside, this active shooter.
The SUV now cornered.
Oh,
Terrorized residents all on lockdown.
oh my gosh. Guys, they just shot at my house right now?
While police rained bullets down on the SUV.
Damn, this wasn't even around.
Finally, it was over.
Right now we have 1 down outside the car, 1 down inside the car.
Both suspects dead. Police finding rifles, pistols, and thousands of rounds of ammo in their car.
On them, on their person, on their body, and in the vehicle, they had over 1,400 .223 caliber rounds that were available to them, and they had over 200 9mm rounds on their persons as well.
And at a home where Farouk reportedly lived, even more weapons. Authorities found an arsenal of 12 pipe bombs, along with a staggering ammunition stash. 2,000 9mm rounds, 2,500 .223 caliber assault rifle rounds, and several hundred .22 long rifle rounds.
If you look at the amount of obvious pre-planning that went in, the amount of armaments that he had, the weapons and the ammunition, there was obviously a mission here.
But the exact motive of the shooters is still unknown. Authorities continue to search their home today for answers.
Yesterday, a tragedy occurred in San Bernardino.
This massacre marking yet another instance of President Obama speaking out about a mass shooting in America.
We're going to have to, I think, search ourselves as a society to make sure that we can take basic steps that would make it harder, not impossible, but harder for individuals to get access to weapons.
The San Bernardino shooting is the 355th mass shooting this year, according to a mass shooting tracker group, which counts shootings where 4 or more people are killed or injured by gunfire. By this count, there have been more mass shootings than days this year. Tonight, reality sinking in for the families of those 14 killed.
No, he's in a better place.
Among them, Nicholas Alessino, an employee of the County Department of Health.
I actually got an extra hug and a kiss from him yesterday, so that's what I'm holding on to.
Also killed Aurora Godoy, Shannon Johnson, Sierra Claiborne, and 10 others. Denise Peraza was one of the 21 people who were injured but survived. Her younger sister, Kathy.
Right now, we're just grateful to God that she's alive, knowing that she's okay and she's going to pull through. You know, it's a big sense of relief.
But for those who lost their loved ones, there is no relief, only unrelenting heartache.
I have no idea how I'm going to handle this. The world will suffer from having one less person like him in it. That's what bothers me, is, you know, he is a ray of light to so many people.
When we come back, we hear from a survivor who worked with, even shared a cubicle with one of the alleged killers. And the moment he knew something was horribly wrong.
I'm ready to leave.
and there's like a bomb went off.
We're back with the special edition of Nightline from San Bernardino. Amidst the tragic loss, there are remarkable stories of survival. Patrick Bakari shared a cubicle with one of the alleged shooters, who he considered a friend. He was even sitting next to Syed Farouk at the holiday party yesterday. He tells ABC's David Muir that everything seemed normal until he excused himself to go to the restroom. And then the blast of bullets.
But this was a guy who you shared a cubicle with for how long?
About 2 years.
So you've been sitting right at the table with him?
It was a fairly long table. He was at the opposite end, I was at the other end. And I think he came late, so he just positioned himself there.
Did you talk to him?
Just a casual nod or whatever. They announced we're going to take a 15-minute break. So during that break, I excused myself and got to the restroom. And there's like a bomb went off. I turn back and look at the mirror. I can see that I'm bloody here, here, and here. And I don't know what it is.
You were at the paper towel dispenser?
I was in the restroom. I just pulled paper towels. As I'm pulling the towels, it sounds like an explosion went off. So I announced the other people in the restroom were under attack. The one that was beside me, I told him to get down on the floor, and we put our feet against the door to inhibit anybody from entering the restroom. So we're hearing all this gunfire take place. We're not feeling anything. I'm trying to contact my wife and tell her I love her and that I'm okay, but we're under attack. The gentleman beside me, I asked him to call the police, and he did. Within minutes of us being there, I guess it was 4 or 5 minutes, they came and they attempted to open the restroom door, but they couldn't move the door because we had it braced closed.
With your feet?
Yeah.
You were frozen?
We followed their directions. They took us across that building to another building. They asked who's injured. One of my coworkers was outside that restroom, and she took 2 or 3 rounds. And so we could see the injuries on her. I could feel my little bit of bleeding, some pepper marks all over my body. And so we said, you know, we've got to get her to an ambulance.
Patrick, who is also a medic, helped many of his coworkers who were wounded. Today at the hospital, he saw one of them, a woman who was shot, who he helped survive.
Did she thank you?
Yes. She said, this is the man that rendered me aid, and that made me feel good.
Your friends who were at that table?
Yes. I have a very good friend who lives down the street. He's been the sweetest, most dear, most appreciated employee I met while I worked there. Yeah. He was just a jack of all trades, and a blessing to be and to know. And he'll surely be missed.
Our thanks to David Muir for that report. Now we turn to the young couple alleged to have carried out the bloody attack. After sweeping their house today, police found an arsenal big enough to kill thousands. Rifles, pipe bombs, and a chilling assortment of ammunition. ABC's chief investigative correspondent, Brian Ross, takes us inside the search for answers.
The FBI tonight is now treating the investigation of Syed Farouk and his Pakistani-born wife, Tashfeen Malik, as a potential case of terrorism, although without saying that was the motive.
It would be irresponsible and premature of me to call this terrorism. The FBI defines terrorism very specifically, and we are still, that is the big question for us, is what is the motivation for this?
But today, behind the doors of the young couple's San Bernardino home, police say they found an arsenal of weapons that could have been used to kill thousands of people.
Clearly they were equipped and they could have continued to do another attack.
In the garage, a virtual bomb factory with 12 unexploded bombs, described as similar to this one, featured in an Al-Qaeda publication. One neighbor said another resident in the area became worried about what was going on in the garage.
They had been, I guess, receiving packages, quite a few packages within a short amount of time, and that they were actually doing a lot of work out in the garage, and she was kind of suspicious.
But nobody called the police. Also in the search, police found more than 6,100 unspent rounds or bullets found at the home and in the getaway car, along with 2 high-powered assault rifles and 2 handguns, all purchased legally and quietly stockpiled by Farouk prior to the deadly assault at a holiday party for his fellow workers from the county health department.
He was there early on, and he left. We did have some initial information that he left under some kind of duress or as if he was angry.
Farouk came back with his wife, dressed in tactical gear, and marched into the meeting room and opened fire, not aiming at anyone in particular.
They sprayed the room with bullets, so I don't know that there was any one person that they ultimately targeted. They killed 14 people there.
The San Bernardino police chief said it was clear to him that what happened was much more than simple workplace violence.
Nobody just gets upset at a party, goes home and puts together that kind of an elaborate scheme or plan to come back and do that. So there was some planning that went into this.
By outward appearances, Farouk, born in Chicago, lived a quiet life in this small community outside Los Angeles. He had worked 5 years at the county health department. One of his victims Wednesday was fellow health inspector Nicholas Thalasinos, whose widow Jennifer talked with our station KABC today, saying Farouk gave no signs that anything was wrong.
They all knew him. Most of the victims, well, the victims that I'm aware of, they were all friends with the man that did this. And even though they knew he was Muslim, they had no idea that he had become radicalized.